Hey, welcome in 602 Rose Show live reaction show. Uh, that was an episode. That was an interesting episode. Uh, right off the top, fourth place now in Rose Show League, 45th place in Bachelor Nation. Perfect lineup, 176 points. Looks something like that. Alex, Carolina, Dina, Lydia, Serafina. Alex did work. Alex did numbers with the multiple kisses at the end. She picked up 12 points in 8 seconds to go from completely irrelevant for the episode to like the third highest scorer. So yeah, averaging third now, pretty much just off a one-on-one and then some kissing points. So that's kind of a big one there. Lydia, obviously, huge night for her, jumps way out. 59 points is wild. She did just about everything you would ask for. Man, I wonder who's leading in kisses now. It has to be it's Carolina. Carolina with Lydia and Alex right behind with the multiple kisses. So that's something to watch for the rest of this season because the girls that do that have a tendency to do that the whole way. So if Alex and Lydia are going to do like the kiss talk, kiss talk, kiss talk, the way Rose Show scored, those are individual kisses. So keep that in mind. Obviously you're still going to run your narrative, but if there's a chance for a tiebreaker, and Alex and Lydia are doing the kiss talk thing, that's a hell of a tiebreaker. They took what should have been 3 kisses each and turned it into 4 and 5. I think Lydia, she had 3 at dinner, and then Alex had 1 kiss that turned into 4 separate instances when she was sitting with Grant. So just something to keep in mind, something interesting there. I want to say the swearing, those girls are all pretty much gone. There's less of that in Bachelor than there is in Bachelorette, but something to keep an eye on again as you start to think about your lineup and start to think about how your narrative flows and where your tiebreakers are. It's an important piece to at least be aware of how the rules work and where you can steal some of those points. Shout out to the producers. This was a well-produced episode. The fake outs with Zoe, Chloe, Serafina with the short dress and then the confrontation. They did a good job framing it the way they wanted to, right? They had us talking about one narrative and we really ended up going a different direction there. Chloe really not involved at all. Yeah, Mary. The Yeah, Maria was a gift. Maria was a gift to the world. One of my favorite characters of all time on the show. Um, I thought the finance date was bad. That wasn't great. They kind of do that every season where they answer the questions on the whiteboards. It was weird. The girls kind of called it out how they were playing the judges and not to get to know Grant. But in this Bachelor, it's this Bachelor. Half the girls are there for the wrong reasons. But like you have to play the game, right? Like the person that gets the date is the person who wins the date. So you kind of have to play into that a little bit. Um, the adrenaline date, the real quick, the mall one-on-one versus the Vegas one-on-one is wild. That's I don't know if I've seen that kind of disparity. I mean, they literally just went to an empty mall. There wasn't even anybody working there, like making their own snacks and ice cream and crap. So I don't know exactly what that was. ABC Disney's not hurting for money, but they do weird shit like that sometimes. I thought it was kind of weird. But the adrenaline date in Vegas, the skydiving, we see that kind of stuff every year. In the season preview at the end of the episode, we saw that they're going to jump off more bridges and stuff. It's a cheap bonding activity. I can't remember the term. It's a psychoanalytical thing. It's like trauma bonding, and it like accelerates your connection. So obviously, in a show that's 8 weeks long, you need to accelerate connection. So they do a lot of those, but I don't care for them. And what else we got here? Oh, the crying nonsense. These girls just yeah, Mary. See, this girl knows This is someone who knows Bachelor. Okay, this is someone who's been around for a long time. Mary knows what's up. The crying is just too much crying for me this season, and you see it every year, but it usually comes a little bit later. The level of crying early in this season just it feels more than I've seen in the past. Obviously it's playing its role for the show. It's forwarding the narrative they want, and the thing to remember is that we see 2 hours a week, and those cameras are rolling 24 hours a day all week long, and then they can edit it and mix it all together. Right? So just because this feels like we've seen more crying, it doesn't mean that there is more crying. It's just being showed more crying. So that's another thing to keep in mind for fantasy when you're thinking about how your narrative rolls out is that we are seeing such a small piece of how many cameras rolling 24 hours a day, and they can kind of fine tune what they're showing you to fit whatever narrative the producers are driving. So it's not only important for fantasy to have your idea of how the season plays out, but also to account for what the producers are doing. And the Bachelor's the big dogs, right? These are the great producers. And you see the drop off to Bachelorette and then the BIP. But I mean, these guys do what they do and they're really, really good at it. So just keep it in mind. I had a question and I asked a couple of people via text during the show. I don't know about the ankle deep water in the pool dinner thing. I don't know if I'd be comfortable with my feet in the pool while I'm having like a serious sit down dinner and this girl's talking to me about like some pretty important things to her. Um, I mean, I guess it's kind of romantic. It's kind of cool, but I don't think I'd want to be. I guess they don't eat anymore though. So if you're just sitting drinking, you're just poolside, really, right? I don't know, I just thought that was kind of weird. They handled the Beverly thing really poorly. I thought if you were spoiled, you knew she was leaving. We didn't have the story quite right. I didn't see anybody, Blue Sky or Twitter or Instagram, that had Beverly getting a one-on-one and then not showing up for it. I'm really glad that I didn't, because I might have slotted her in for like a play out kind of edit. The way it was framed, at least everywhere I saw, was that she just wasn't present. So I'm glad I didn't have that information, because I might have slotted her. Obviously, we knew she didn't move on, but if you get sent home on a one-on-one, it means something really bad happens. So I'm kind of glad I didn't have that data. Obviously, she finished the episode with -6 points. Not great. Golden Bachelor. Jack was my favorite for Golden Bachelorette. I love that Jack just comes back and he's hitting on the girls and grilling food and making lewd jokes. I would watch Golden BIP religiously. It would be just equal parts hilarious and horrifying, and I'm all the way here for it. Chloe for BIP, by the way, Chloe McQueen. She I kind of like an affirmative action hire. I don't know if I can say that. I might get in trouble for that, but they get slapped all the time for not having people of color and bigger girls. And like, I thought Chloe was gorgeous and she was pretty funny. Seemed hyper aware of what was happening, where she wasn't getting any time and that it meant she was leaving the show. But I would love to see Chloe on BIP. I thought she was fun. And we get BIP back this year. They're cutting Bachelorette. If you haven't heard, they're cutting Bachelorette. Yeah. When Dina leaned in, on Jonathan, yeah, and she like puts her hands on his chest. I thought she was gonna kiss him. I'm like, oh boy, can you imagine that drama? That would be, oh boy. There's ways this show could get just completely off the rails, and I feel like every season there's like little snippets where you're like, if the producers just leaned into this for just a moment, it's a completely different show. I wouldn't hate it. Especially because if Dina leaves, I would no longer be confused between Dina and Juliana, who I can't tell the two apart, and it's been a struggle for me. I've been like slow on scoring points because I don't know what it is. They're not that, like, Dina looks more like Natalie, but for some reason I completely freeze. Like I can't tell Dina and Juliana apart, and they have different hair color. I don't know what it is. Last note I had was like calling out your own spiral for Carolina is kind of wild. Like being able to see yourself from the third person and know that you're spiraling and not able to grab that, not able to stop yourself. I mean, she went off the rails. But then we see when Grant is like comforting her afterwards, and I'm not sure how much of it's like gaslighting. And again, we're handed an edit, right? We don't see all of it, but I'm just it felt kind of slimy from Carolina, and just the level of self-awareness paired with like the lack of confidence, I guess, is what I'll call it. It was just a really weird juxtaposition for me. Obviously 51 points for Carolina. You will take that any way you can get it. Successfully didn't spiral, only said she was anxious twice. That's a huge number of points. 6 kisses, 2 swears, got called attractive, obviously gets the one-on-one, interrupted at the end there. Huge night for Carolina, now averaging 30 points on the season. That's going to come into play. I think she's around for, oh yeah, no spoilers on this episode. We'll see when she's gone. We're going to find out. That's all I've got. Decent episode. We'll check pricing really quick. But what I wanted to say is that with this Bachelorette thing, not really sure what we're going to do, but I think we're going to run Fantasy Top Chef. I think we're going to run it for free. So if you're into Top Chef, watch the socials, watch the app. There might be something there. There might be something we can do there. Lydia, Carolina at 26. Alex at 23. Juliana at 21. Zoe at 21. Oh, Dina and Parisa still at 14. See, the value is what's going to get me. I am looking at my notes for week 4. We won't do any spoilers on this show. If you happen to catch this just by random, Sundays, 602 Rose Show, the main show drops on the channel. Check that out for picks. There are spoilers. There are spoilers in that show. I'm going to be very interested in this 17 to 14 range for next week. But this is interesting pricing. This should be good. I think that's all I got. Thank you for joining me. 602 Rose Show recap. Other stuff going on the channel. If you haven't played Chainlink, make sure you play Chainlink, our free sports game. Fun to play, easy to pick up. And then definitely watch 602 Rose Show on Sundays. I think that's all I got. Thanks for joining me, and get those lineups in. We are like halfway through the season. This is a shortened season, so keep an eye out and watch those narratives. Watch what the producers are doing, and then extrapolate that out and know what you want your lineup to look like. Thanks, guys. I'll see you Sunday.